vitamins, for example, minerals, as well as fiber. Adequate levels of all of these are critically important. And if a person does not consume enough, then all of the systems that are necessary to help maintain optimal health are going to fail. A healthful diet is also moderate. Moderation refers to consuming the different sources of micro and macronutrients in just the right amount. You don't want too much, nor do you want too little. More is not better in biology and medicine, nor is obviously too little. What we need is something in that optimal mid-range. And if a person consumes too much carbohydrate, too much fat, too much protein, there will be severe consequences, just as there will be if a person does not consume enough of these. A healthful diet is going to be balanced, and that means it's going to provide the right proportions of all of the different ingredients that you need. There are lots of different things that are needed by the immune system especially. You need adequate amounts of vitamin C, vitamin A, for example. You also need protein because protein is what antibodies produced by lymphocytes are made of. And of course, for enzymatic reactions, the chemical processes that enable the entire system to function, they require iron, zinc, copper, other minerals. And finally, a healthful diet is going to be varied. And what I mean by this is eating many different types of foods. A very good way of doing this is to make sure there's a lot of color on your plate. The color, especially in vegetables, reflects the phytochemicals that are present in these vegetables, fruits, for example. And the more variety you have, the more of these different colors, the more of these ingredients you are getting. And some of these phytochemicals have been found to be protective against cancer. They benefit you in staving off heart disease, and they work in a number of ways to maintain an optimal state of immunity. When one thinks about nutrition and food, then the word calories comes to mind. You need a certain number of calories in order to provide the energy that cells requiring in order to perform their various functions. Problems arise when too much calorie or energy-laden food is consumed which does not provide adequate amounts of nutrients, the micronutrients, for example. And so it's very, very important to make sure that you consume fewer calories from foods and beverages that are missing the critical ingredients that are required for cells to operate optimally. At the same time that one takes steps to mobilize their immune system by ingesting the right types of foods, there are certain things that you do not want to overdo. For example, excessive consumption of sodium, which is found in the salt we put on our foods. It's also an ingredient in many of the processed foods that we purchase over the counter. This can lead to high blood pressure in some people, but not all. It can also cause some people to lose calcium from their bones, rendering them susceptible to osteoporosis, as well as other problems with their skeletal system. Fat is essential. You need a certain amount of fat to cushion organs. You need fat to help regulate the balance of steroids. This is particularly important in women. The fat which accumulates in the hip region helps to regulate the balance of estrogen and progesterone. Female athletes who do not consume enough fat and do not have sufficient fat in this region often will have abnormal reproductive cycles, may even stop cycling. However, too much fat, especially in the form of saturated fat, can leave one susceptible to coronary arterial disease. And, as I